What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Team Chat Podcast, a weekly video game show where we talk about games, the ones we love, the ones we hate, and everything in between. I am one of your hosts, Jerrett Wilson, joined by Rachel Mogan.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Indeed.
Recording it this evening as we normally do.
Although it's Texas, so it's basically full midday.
Yeah, it's still the afternoon out there. It's still hot. You want us to just stay inside, but that's why it's perfect that we're doing this recording because, you know, we get to stay in the nice, cool AC.
What if we recorded outside?
Oh, God.
Oh, God. That would just be
You would literally just see me just slowly just dissolving into a puddle of water because that's about how it goes.
I would just be furious about being able to hear dogs bark on the microphone.
Oh, I would be too.
I wouldn't
all
even
the
be
noises,
on camera.
children outside.
I'd be roaming around your neighborhood just like kicking dogs and punching kids in the face.
Kicking dogs? That's terrible.
But I like that that's the one you grabbed onto and not punching kids in the face.
Who cares about kids? Honestly, they're annoying. But if this is your first time listening, thanks for joining us. You can subscribe to the show across podcast services across the web, such as Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, and others. You can check out teamchatpodcast.com/where to listen for the full list. You can also watch each episode on YouTube and Twitch. So check us out there, subscribe, like, send us a review, all that good fun stuff. If you have thoughts, questions, or suggestions, email us at teamchatpodcast@gmail.com or find us across social media such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Finally, we are a completely listener-supported show, so if you would like to support us because you're really loving and enjoying what we're creating, head over to patreon.com/teamchatpodcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you can support the show, and in return, we will give you a cool perk like getting the episodes early before their general Tuesday release and access to our private Team Chat Podcast Discord server. Again, that is patreon.com/teamchatpodcast. And a big thank you to all of our current patrons who help make each and every episode possible. Round of applause. Okay, well, we want to give an update on something. We've mentioned it and talked about it before in the last couple episodes. Now it is official. The Team Chat Podcast giveaway is happening. It starts today. It's started already. So you want to check out the links that we're putting out in our social media. Basically, what it is, quick and simple, it's a chance to win a used, go ahead and say that, caveat, used, we're not that rich yet, Glacier White PS4. It's Mogan's old one. She's giving it away because she bought a brand new, one of the new one that was released during the PS4 Days of Play during E3 that has like the gold triangle, circle,
so
X, and square on it. It's very nice.
Gertrude, as many of our fans would know her now, she's beautiful. She's kind of like a little bit darker than the blue of Jerrett's shirt. Just the most beautiful PlayStation 4 you've ever seen. Next to, of course, the one that we're giving you the opportunity to win for free.
Right, and so these were originally released when Destiny 1 was coming out, and because they were the first PS4 to be completely Glacier White, they're a pretty big item. And Mogan was able to snatch one up then, and then now we're being able to give it away to someone else. Don't worry, it's being professionally cleaned, so it'll run like a brand new machine, but it's still used. So caveat to that, but still, it's a PS4, and it's Glacier White. It's coming with a white controller. It's coming with all the cables. It's going to be a great prize for whoever is able to claim it.
And this is more of a pro than a caveat. Even though it was released as part of the Destiny 1 specials, it has no Destiny branding on the console itself.
Depending on how you feel about
so
Destiny,
it's
that
just beautiful in Glacier White, so you don't have to worry about it being like, I'm a hardcore Destiny fan. It's not anywhere on the console itself.
Right. So go check it out. We got links up on our Twitter and our Facebook and all that stuff. You can find out more about that contest and how to enter in all that good stuff. So check it out. Why don't you? But before we get into our big topic of the day, it's time for some news.
All right, we've got a little bit of news coming up here. So for starters, out now and coming soon. So as of this episode's air date on July 3rd, we have Red Faction Guerrilla Remastered for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Coming soon on July 5th, we have Mushroom Wars 2 for the Switch. We have Warhammer 40,000: Inquisitor - Martyr. I'll say that one more time.
I feel like all those Warhammer, there are Warhammer games coming out all the time. There was just Warhammer Vermintide 2 or something that came out a couple months ago.
Anyways, this one is Warhammer 40,000: Inquisitor - Martyr, and that is for the PS4 and Xbox One. Again, both of those titles July 5th. Coming up very soon on July 10th, we have 20XX, aka 2020. Coming out for PS4 and Switch on the 10th, followed very shortly, I don't know how the contracting worked on this one, but followed very shortly on July 11th by 2020 on Xbox One. So
numbers.
I know, right? So the Switch and PS4 versions of 2020 are coming out on July 10th. The Xbox One version hits on July 11th, literally one day later. Also on July 10th, we have MXGP Pro for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Again on July 10th, Shining Renaissance Refrain. Shining Resonance Refrain. I misquoted there. Shining Resonance Refrain for PS4, Switch, PC, and Xbox One. And then a bit of assorted news from around the web. One quick thing that fans of the Mega Man X series will be interested to learn. Originally, this is kind of like just a fun fact and also an update for the upcoming Mega Man X Legacy release. In the original Mega Man X games, the localization team, specifically for Mega Man X5, chose to rename all of the bosses from the Japanese version coming over to the English version with variations of names from the band Guns N' Roses.
Okay.
So, it was really... So, for example, one of the bosses I think was named Axel the Red, and he was, kind of a red boss with a rose motif on his head, and so they named him Axl Rose, more or less.
That makes sense.
But unfortunately now, in the Mega Man X Legacy editions, they have changed that localization to be more in line with the original Japanese names, which I personally think is kind of a bummer. Some hardcore...
It's a fun little Easter eggish thing.
It's a silly, fun touch that I don't think was doing anybody any harm, except for maybe Guns N' Roses. Cannot confirm. But since nobody, nowadays, our age or younger, is that big of a Guns N' Roses fan, it would have been a fun thing to have around.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
They decided to change it, make it a little bit more true to form for the Mega Man X Japanese editions. And then, of course, in other news, we have Jerrett. You know a little bit more about this one than I do. What's happening in Halo news?
All right, well, it was announced today, which today being the 28th, June 28th, it was announced that, and this is coming from entertainmentweekly.com, Halo TV show finally greenlit by Showtime, quote, our most ambitious series ever. This is by James Hibbard. A scripted TV drama series based on Microsoft's massive Halo video game franchise for Xbox is finally really happening. That sounds like a weird, odd wording. Finally, really?
Well, it sounds like even they're stunned that it's happening at all.
Well, I mean, they've been talking about it for forever. I remember when the Xbox One was announced and there was all that stuff, I think it was Spielberg was attached to a TV show. They did a slight Halo Nightfall, I think. It might have been a web series that you could only watch on Microsoft's entertainment platform.
There's already a web series, though, about Halo. It's called Red vs. Blue.
Yeah, well, that's...
And it's the greatest Halo series you could ever ask for. Made by local heroes, Rooster Teeth.
Yeah. But anyway, so... After being mired in development purgatory for 5 years, Showtime has announced a project greenlit for 10 episodes, plus hired a showrunner and a director. We're told Halo, which is the show's working title for now, will dramatize an epic 26th century conflict between humanity and an alien threat known as the Covenant. Halo will weave deeply drawn personal stories with action, adventure, and a richly imagined vision of the future. Kyle Killen will serve as executive producer, writer, and showrunner, while Rupert Wyatt will direct multiple episodes and also executive produce. Quote, Halo is our most ambitious series ever, and we expect audiences who have been anticipating it for years to be thoroughly rewarded, said David Nevins, president and CEO of Showtime. In the history of television, there simply has never been enough great science fiction. Kyle Killen's scripts are thrilling, expansive, and provocative. Rupert Wyatt is a wonderful world-building director, and their vision of Halo will enthrall fans of the game while also drawing the uninitiated into a world of complex characters that populate this unique universe, end quote.
I feel like of the Halo games that I know of, anecdotally, from both yourself and from, of course, our now absent Zach,
yes.
Of those that I know of, I feel like Halo ODST would have been the one that I feel like would make for the most dramatic series. Just because of the
still
story.
Could be.
Yeah.
This doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be centered around Master Chief. We don't know that yet.
So my feelings about whether or not they put Master Chief in the show are because you never see Master Chief's actual face in the games, do you?
Right.
So you could still get presumably the same guy to voice him.
Which I think you should.
I feel like if they don't do that, obviously Halo fans themselves, I think, would riot.
Oh, yeah.
And it just, it would just be
weird.
As fun. It would be weird.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Especially because of that, you're not seeing his face. With the new Witcher TV series that's being developed by Netflix, same kind of thing. You have a different actor, so you're seeing a different representation of Geralt. It's so you will have this whole thing of, oh, he looks a little different. It's not Doug Cockle's voice. Okay, that's fine. After a couple episodes, I'll get over it. But if you're looking at the imagery of Master Chief and seeing Master Chief, and it's not Steve Downes, I believe is his name, is this voice actor, then you're going to be like, what's going on with this? Exactly. And it will probably never feel right. Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, this is just saying it's happening for sure. They haven't said again who it's going to focus on. Will characters from the... I'm sure there will be references to the video games and the characters and all that stuff, but will Master Chief be the main character? Don't know.
I
It could
feel like
go more the
they're-
ODST approach. That's like
Yeah.
the side characters that revolve around the main conflict. Kind of like how Marvel does with all of their like TV show that
Yeah.
are, same universe, but not featuring the people in the movies.
I feel like that's probably going to be their focus. If I were a show creator and I were trying to make something out of the Halo series, I feel like I would be very wary of using title character Master Chief in that series, and that it would not necessarily be easier, but a bit of a safer bet
Right.
in terms of who you're wanting to draw into the show to maybe focus on some non-linear characters and stories.
Yep, I agree.
And that's all the news we have today.
No, it's not.
Oh, is it not?
It's not.
What did we miss?
Another announcement made today in the world of Overwatch.
Oh, that's right. So anybody that forgot, or that not forgot, anyone that hasn't yet seen it, Hero 28 was officially announced. It technically, so we may have talked about this on the show before of what I thought it might be.
Yeah, I think we did.
And I mentioned that I thought Hero 28 would be what I presumed was another ape from Lunar Colony, who is supposedly kind of has some relation to character Winston. I was sort of right and also sort of not about that
Yeah.
because it technically is another character from the Lunar Colony that managed to make his way to Earth. That character is not an ape or a monkey. It is a hamster.
Named
and his
Hammond.
name is Hammond, and he's a tank. So,
Although we don't know if he's a tank.
no, we do.
Oh, we do?
It was announced on the developer update.
Oh, I see. I didn't watch the developer update yet.
So on the developer
This news is
update-
just so fresh.
No, it's very fresh. So I watched the developer update at work today because I do my job really well. So I was watching the developer update, and they did explain very clearly that Hammond is essentially going to function as a tank, almost in a way like Diva, because his ball, for those of you that haven't seen the update yet, Hammond is, of course, a hamster.
Well,
but
technically,
he's
his hero's
XL.
name is Wrecking Ball.
Yeah, his hero name is Wrecking Ball, but the character's in lore game is Hammond.
Right.
But Wrecking Ball, the tank, he'll have the ability to be a quadruped moving tank, kind of like Orisa is actually. Or he can basically do his Samus Aran move and go into Morph Ball mode and just kind of hamster roll him out around the map, and he'll have a grappling hook attached to his Morph Ball that he can kind of use to slingshot himself around the map. He also is going to have, I think, 4 guns. He's either going to have 2 or 4.
I know he's got the
actual
2 big
guns.
miniguns.
He might have 2 smaller ones as well, kind of similar to Diva.
Yeah, because Diva has her like shotguns and then
she's got
the
the mini
rockets.
missiles, right? And Hammond sounds like, Wrecking Ball sounds like he's going to function semi-similar to that. He has a very different ult though called Landmine, and he's got a couple of other features that make him sound like an interesting character. I'm excited to
I'm
try
excited to
it.
play him too.
Yeah,
I mean,
it looks
granted,
very
well, like
interesting.
I'm kind of tired. We just keep getting support tanks as new heroes.
Well, the thing is, did you see the more recent update where they removed the defense category altogether?
Oh no,
So that's update would have dropped
I haven't
as
been in
of-
Overwatch in a couple days.
This is very new news. So the developer update that was dropped the week of this recording, which today is June 28th. June 28th, it would have been on the 26th, just a couple of days ago. They first of all debuted new Symmetra. So all of those Symmetra reworks finally did go through. They did release the revamp of the map, Lunar Colony, so Horizon Lunar Colony.
Oh, so it's changed
They
now.
made some changes to it as well, presumably to make it less terrible, because the consensus within the
it's not the
community
best.
was that it sucked. So they changed that, and then now they have just announced, but not produced in-game yet, the character of Wrecking Ball.
Should be hitting
So-
PTR relatively soon.
Yeah, exactly. But as part of that big update that happened this week, there's no longer a defense category. There's just DPS, just tank, and just support.
Oh,
So
so
they-
how did everybody fall in line then?
I believe that they maintained a lot of DPS where they should be. I think Hanzo and Widow are now considered DPS characters.
That would make sense.
I believe the same applies to Junkrat. The tank category is
Junkrat.
almost entire. The tanks are unchanged. Really, tanks
because now
and supports are
Torbjorn
kind of
would
the
now
same.
be a support, probably, right?
Technically, yes.
Yeah. 'Cause
I would have to double check the full roster, but
mean, we
the point
can-
is
yeah.
there's no more defense category.
Anyway, we'll get off of Overwatch because that Overwatch isn't our big topic for the day. But we still have to talk about. We got a cute little hamster in there now. And
We do. There's
he is a cute little dude.
little hamster being in air
I mean, he's
quotes there.
bigger.
He's been
genetically modified, so he's a little bit bigger. But I mean, still, he pops out of his.
I hate
He looks
him.
so cute.
I hate his guts. Fun fact: I don't like hamsters.
Oh, I've never had an opinion here or there on hamsters.
So,
but a CGI computer one who does little cute little giggles and claps with his little paws.
So leave your comments on hamsters in the YouTube comments below. We'd love to know how strongly you love or hate hamsters.
Yeah.
Let us know.
All right, but on to our big topic of the day. The main topic is, we're not going to do we originally last week were kind of like, all right, we're going to come back. We're going to have our, numbers 6 through 4 of our top 10 list. But
the problem is 2 things happened.
Yeah, 2 big things that we're like, we should probably spend some time talking about this. So instead, we're going to talk about the 2 released demos in the last week for The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit and Octopath Traveler.
Boom.
We're going to start off, though, with Captain Spirit.
Yes.
So originally we were going to do it. I was going to play Captain Spirit. You were going to play Octopath Traveler. But I know we've both now crossed over and played both.
Correct.
So you did finish Captain Spirit, right?
I did.
Okay.
Now, the thing that I want to mention real quick for anyone that is considering playing the demo is, I don't know if you had this problem. I had the hardest time finding it at all.
Oh, I did too.
So the thing
is, you can't search for it in the PlayStation Store at least.
So in the PlayStation Store, and I assume it is almost certainly similar on Xbox, this is a totally free demo, but the way that you have to find it is in your respective store, in either the Xbox or PlayStation Store. You have to search Life is Strange 2.
Right, and then it shows
up.
Then
it will show up as one of the available downloadable
And then you
demos.
download it, and the cover art says Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit. I'm like, why
wouldn't that come up?
I don't know.
Wouldn't it come up?
I don't know. It was real dumb.
It was really stupid, and the fact that they announced it at E3 but then made it that hard to find really perturbed me. But
so I can't decide if I want to talk about that now or if I want to talk about it after. Okay, let's just jump in. I'll save that for a little bit. Initial thoughts.
So my thoughts are a little complicated.
Because we don't want to necessarily get spoilery here. Because
I feel like we should talk about the whole thing.
Yeah, okay, that's true. It's a demo. You can go do it. It's not going to. It affects Life is Strange Season 2, but it's not the whole Life is Strange Season 2. It's not even a full episode, I guess.
That's correct.
So basically, if for those who don't know, aren't aware, not into it, I don't care what Captain Spirit is. Like we said, it's the prologue to Life is Strange Season 2, which is going to focus around this little boy, Chris. Blanking on his last name.
I don't even know.
Anyway, his name is Chris.
We'll call him Chris Traeger. That's from Parks and Rec.
That is literally the best name I've ever heard.
The best name I've ever heard.
But anyway.
We'll call him Chris Traeger. Okay. I'm doing it.
No, I'm going to look it up because that's going to drive me crazy this whole time. But anyway, so.
Chris Pine.
No.
Chris Evans.
No.
Chris Hemsworth.
No. Chris Pratt.
Wait, is that really his name?
Oh. It's
Wait, did you say Chris Brown?
Chris Pratt.
Oh, okay, never mind. I was about to say shame on you.
Not Chris Brown, no.
Chris Pratt.
That's that guy. Okay, so... Oh, it just says Chris. Okay. It says
Chris
his name.
Traeger wins!
I'm not going to do that. It says his name in the game. I just can't remember now what it is. But anyway... This little boy Chris lives with his single father. Throughout the story, you presume his mother has died.
Correct.
I first couldn't tell if she just left, if she was missing, or if she was dead. And then as it went on through the story, I was like, oh, she's dead.
Yeah, because you found the piece of evidence that describes
the car accident and stuff like that. Yeah. So, gameplay wise, it's very similar to Life is Strange.
Yeah, it's
got some refinement now. It seems a lot smoother and camera motions. You don't have to go to a load screen every time you leave a building or a room.
That was really nice.
Yeah, that was
a nice
some
touch
nice
that I
new things like
right
that.
Away.
It was much easier because before it was just I need to go back to Chloe's room. Oh, God. I gotta go up the stairs, then go through the load screen and all this stuff. Blah 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 blah. Okay, I got this thing. Now I gotta leave.
Smooch my girlfriend on her mouth and break her favorite snow globe.
I know it. Tragedy plus reverse them, and there you go. But anyway, so he's going to, so throughout this, he takes on the persona, or he wants to take on the persona of Captain Spirit, and basically he he goes and he plays with his toys, and there's the bad guy toys, and there's his good guy toys, and typical kid stuff, typical
Chris,
kid imagination.
If you had to guess, he's probably between the ages of 8 and 10.
That's what I was thinking.
He's definitely not young teenager. He's prime childhood years.
Also, looks like Macaulay Culkin.
He really kind of does.
From Home Alone, straight up.
He's very
They should totally. I hope they do something where he does the scream into the mirror.
I feel like they definitely won't. But he doesn't wear. Wait, did he wear glasses? He didn't. Never mind.
No,
just
he doesn't.
kidding.
Yeah, he looks straight up like Macaulay Culkin.
The rich villain kid from Little Rascals. Never mind. We'll pass over that one.
Pass over
Whatever. Non-necessary.
But anyway, so he takes on this persona of Captain Spirit, and so the thing in this one that's in Life is Strange Season 1, Max had the ability to rewind time. And this one is you would just have these little interactions where you would interact with things like the one moment. Did you turn on the water heater?
No.
Okay,
I did
so
not.
there's this part where he goes into the room. It's by the laundry room, and he calls it like the dark room. And you like open it, and there wasn't a setup for this. Like I didn't know it was something I had to do. I just decided to try it out. And you would do like. And it would have this like you can activate these. Some of the actions you can do. You can either just hit X to do the action, or you can hold left trigger and hit X, and it does like his like superhero version of doing it. And so you go into this room, and then it's like this like other realm, and this like creature rises up, and he has to like tame the beast basically. But it's him.
Totally
It's symbolizing him like overcoming his fear to be able to like turn on the water heater because it's this completely dark room that he doesn't like going into. And so that's kind of like how he handles his abilities. For now, like it could grow, it could expand as the game goes on. And at the end, there is a hint that, like Max, he does also hold a power of some kind.
So just to clarify, the power that they are more or less hinting at is he appears to be telekinetic.
Yes.
He appears to be able to actually move physical objects.
He does stuff like
mind.
a Jedi with his hand.
Yeah, like he'll like hold his hand out, and actually it's really cute in the game itself. He'll make the noise, like he'll hold out his hand and he'll go, like he'll make a humming noise, which I feel like is very indicative of childhood itself.
Weren't you always like well, for me, with me and my friends, we were running around and like playing Nerf guns and stuff like that. You're always going pew, 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 like making the noises, or even like playing with the plastic lightsabers from, and everything. And like you're making the noise of like ching, 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 and all that stuff is like hitting. Exactly. That's what kids do. And so, so I thought there was some very fun touches. He doesn't feel like a kid, but he's an adult. Like, you know what I mean? Like you get that feel like sometimes when you play like Ellie from The Last of Us, you play as Ellie. She's obviously in a much different situation and everything, and a much more, because this is really a mature person, but you still, and older, but still like, you don't necessarily see her as much as, I feel like, as a kid, as it's like just a younger adult.
She's a young adult. Yeah. That's the thing.
Whereas he really does feel like a kid.
Exactly.
And I think they do a really good job of portraying that. But, it wouldn't be a Life is Strange game if it wasn't heartbreaking. And
if it didn't deal with, like Life is Strange did, some very, not graphic content, but very mature content. Yeah. Like this is, so we should probably just go on ahead and say, for anybody that maybe has dealt with parental abuse or alcohol problems with a parent, domestic abuse, this really might not be the game for you. So just to put it right out there.
It very much highlights those very quickly.
Yes. So the child, Chris, he's with his single father, like you said. I don't remember what the dad's name is.
David.
Yeah, actually, David sounds kind of right. We'll pretend it's David for now while you look it up. So David appears to be kind of a younger-ish father. He looks like he's maybe in his late 20s or early 30s. And in the wake of the death of his wife, he is absolutely an alcoholic. Like that aspect of his personality.
Beer for breakfast.
He's drinking beers for breakfast. He drinks like half an entire bottle of what appears to be whiskey, watching one basketball game, and it's not even hinted at. It's very much in the game that Chris has this large bruise on his arm that was clearly inflicted by the father.
Yeah, and when that happened, and he was like, "Hey, has anybody said anything about your arm?" I was like, "God damn it, he beats the kid. Yeah. He beats the kid." Like I was playing, and I was like, "Oh my god, this just got real like very quickly."
It's not expressly stated at this time whether or not this arm situation was a one-off thing, but the way that Chris tiptoes around his father, the fact that he appears to be in charge of most household chores, he does the laundry, he cleans up the house, he takes out the recycling, and again, he's like 8 to 10.
Yeah,
and most
he's doing
kids
everything.
Aren't really in charge of that kind of stuff. He serves his own dad food because he's like, "Hey dad, I know that when you're watching the game, you don't really get up and eat." Yeah, because he's off his ass drunk. Mm-hmm. So like Chris is a very positive and upbeat kid, but it's absolutely apparent that he's desperately trying to tiptoe around his alcoholic, abusive father.
Yeah.
So if that's something that you're not prepared to personally deal with in a video game, don't play this one. It might be a little bit too emotional for some people to deal with, but if that's the kind of thing, it's definitely treated in a respectful light. I don't feel like it's the kind of game.
It's not gratuitous.
Yeah, it's not gratuitous, it's not excessive, but the hints are there that is clearly the situation.
Okay, everything's just calling him Chris's dad.
Chris Traeger's dad it is then.
But anyway, so yeah, and So here's the thing, though. Like, obviously, I got the hand. Did you complete all the, like, activities that you could do?
I don't think I did, because actually this was pretty late last night that I did it, and I think I was just breezing through it to try and get through it finished.
And that's kind of how, like, here was the thing for me about it. And, you know, and it's interesting in how the game can affect how you're going to play through it. I was scared to do a lot of things because I didn't want the dad to get mad. And then hurt Chris.
And I feel like that's something that a lot of people may react very badly to.
Yeah.
And not because, you know, they dislike the game itself, but because it might bring up really unfortunate memories.
Yeah.
So again, this is just a game that players need to be very conscious of and very careful of. The same really kind of could have been said of Life is Strange 1.
Oh, yeah,
It dealt with drug abuse. It dealt with kidnapping.
Rape.
It dealt with rape. It dealt with a lot of really heavy issues, but child abuse is kind of on its own level.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have experienced that in their own lives.
Definitely.
Or even if it's not outright abuse, an alcoholic parent, a lot of people have experienced that as well. So I do feel like they've chosen to address some really heavy content.
And they handled it really well with season one. So, like, I don't think we're going to come out and be like, oh my God, they handled that poorly.
Exactly.
But I still think it does. Like, I had an idea that the father was going to be alcoholic and abusive from a trailer that they showed at E3 and all that stuff. So I was kind of already being careful about it. But I mean, I'm wondering how fast, if I did choose like the dialogue options, because now, you know, in this one, you can't go back and rewind your dialogue options like you can in season one. So like because of that, I was very careful to be like, I don't think he'll get mad at this one. I don't think he'll get mad at this one. Because honestly, I don't want to pick the wrong one and see the kid get fucked up.
Which, honestly, I doubt that they would do.
Right.
I'm sure that this is the team
I don't think we're gonna see like the dad just beating the shit out of the kid.
No, I feel like it would do the thing in Life
it would
is Strange, where like it suddenly goes to a frozen
does the pictures
screen,
and all that stuff.
and it's like you basically did this wrong, and it will force you to go back and essentially redo the scenario.
Oh, that's true.
Because there were times in Life is Strange where you didn't even have the option to rewind. You clearly had picked the wrong option.
Right.
So it would freeze frame and then force you to go back.
So the whole thing is that there's like this point where the whole like point of the day is they're going to do this. His dad was going to watch the basketball game, and then after they were going to go buy a Christmas tree. And so the whole thing is his dad's like, he's always like, oh, but you fall asleep, you know, when you're in everything and you sleep all day. His dad's just like, oh, wake me up. And you can tell he's like, oh, I don't want to wake him up. And you find out he falls asleep all the time because obviously he's drunk off his ass. And so you can go around and there are, like I said, there's activities that you can complete, like compiling doing the laundry, compiling his Captain Spirit costume, finding and playing with all of his toys for the opposite team, fighting a snowman monster he has set up in the back here. Yeah, the Snowmancer.
I like the Snowmancer.
Finding like his treasure map. There are all these different activities you can complete. And obviously, like in Life is Strange, you can go around and like interact with household items that will either give you clues to something else you might be able to do later, or just some fun little tidbits.
Yeah.
Did you investigate any of those things?
I tried to investigate the locked locker. So
I
this
did too.
is something
I couldn't find the code.
I couldn't find it either.
Which just made me think like I was supposed to go there, but then also like it's supposed to be self-contained. And obviously, you should be able to do the activities.
Yeah, I feel like maybe, so again, this was not the full episode.
Right.
So I feel like maybe the locked locker, and I think the locked cell phone.
Yeah,
because I didn't get the cell phone either. We could just be terrible investigators.
But like I felt like I crawled all over that place.
But it did feel like there were certain things that were basically off limits to you because again, this is technically a demo.
Right. So anyway, there's all these different things, and then to end the game, to end the story, is you do eventually decide, okay, I got to wake up my dad. He gets mad because he's drunk. He's belligerent. He knocks over stuff, like twists his ankle or something.
He falls
and all this stuff. Makes a lot of noise.
Drunk,
he's
he falls
cursing,
over.
swearing all over the place. And then as this is happening, like the old lady neighbor who happened to be walking by outside hears it, comes, knocks on the door, like talks to Chris, being this like, oh, what's your plan for the day? But also like checking up, make sure he's okay.
It is abundantly obvious that they know that there's a domestic abuse situation. Yeah. They are trying to deal with it as best as they can as neighbors, but it's not like they can just bust in and take the kids. So she's basically trying to ask Chris these questions like, hey buddy, you okay, wink wink.
And Chris is being like, at least how I played was very like, I said what happened, he just fell, and all that stuff, but I had a feeling like no matter what I picked, the dad was still going to get mad after.
Yeah.
And so basically, she leaves, but then the dad gets mad. basically blames Chris for causing his mother to die because for some reason
he blatantly blames
that's true.
Chris.
He says if it wasn't for you, she wouldn't have gotten in the car that day. So that alludes that to me that it was a car wreck and all this. And so Chris gets upset. I didn't find that evidence.
Okay, so there was
unless I read something and missed it.
Maybe so. So there was a piece of evidence that you can find. I think when you were investigating either the tool shed or the garage, you were in
it was like
one
box of files.
Yeah, it was.
I did find that. I did find that.
And there was one that was a news clipping of the night that Chris's mother was killed.
Okay, I
in
missed
a
that
hit
one.
and run.
Oh, okay.
So that's what happened. So that might actually make the end scene make a little bit more sense.
I mean, I had assumed by that point she was dead, and so then when
Yes.
that came up, then he's just like the car. I was like, oh, it was a car wreck.
So the mom was apparently late out at night. She was out on the road. The car broke down, and as she was presumably walking to get help, a car hit her, killed her, and just drove off.
Damn.
And the police report said that they were actually looking for whoever did it. They were like actively investigating at the time of the accident.
And you can find by other stuff in the house that like it's been some time. Police are kind of like looking over it now and not getting into it as much anymore. But anyway, so Chris, upset obviously by this, runs outside, starts to climb his treehouse, and a rung on his ladder breaks and he begins to fall out of the tree. Right before he hits the ground, though, he stops and levitates in midair. So you're like, oh, he does have a power.
He definitely has powers.
And it just took that event to trigger it, basically. Kind of like how Max's did just randomly in season 1. So, and then, it ends. He like sees some neighbor kids who like kind of smile at him. So you don't know if they necessarily saw or if he just is smiling at him and stuff like that. But yeah, and then it just fades black, goes credits, and that's it.
So there may have been something that you missed that I got. So first of all, to explain the end sequence of this particular snippet, this demo, is my theory about the kids that he sees in the yard next door. I think those are going to be his in-game co-protagonists.
Yeah.
I feel
like the Chloe.
Yeah, it very much showed at least one of the kids in like a facial close-up. So I was like, that kid, that might be his boyfriend. It's don't nod. They're very liberal. Mm-hmm. It might just be his best friend. We don't know yet.
Or a kid he doesn't know. Like, because that could be I was assuming that was the old lady's yard. So maybe grandkid.
Oh yeah, maybe it could be
stuff
a grandkid.
Like that. But anyway, so that will come up more.
But there was a portion where if you completed one of the side tasks on the list, the big bad of Chris's imagination is this space villain called Mantroid.
Yep.
Did you see this side segment?
I think so.
I may or may not be about to blow your mind. I'm not sure. But so if you essentially, you have to do a couple of things the right way to be able to get the sequence, I guess. But if you assemble all of Chris's Captain Spirit outfit, and I think you defeat the Snowmancer.
Okay. I didn't do that because I couldn't find where you get his helmet. I chose a helmet instead of a mask.
He got a mask. It was a blue crayon or marker, and he basically colored the mask right onto his face.
Okay, see that's the one thing. I've been playing for about 2 hours, maybe over 2 hours, and I'm just I can't find this. And
gotcha.
And so I just kind of was like, okay, I've experienced this.
So I guess if you did it right and got his mask, it takes you into this. So this is where I was like, oh, this is going to be a great game. Much like with Life is Strange.
Okay, so I need to redo this then.
Yeah, it gives you a lot of really good realism into imagination.
Yeah.
Because Chris is essentially transported into his imaginary world.
So that's what it was when he fought the monster with the water heater.
Yes. Yeah. So I didn't get the water heater one, but I got this one.
Okay.
So you basically are transported to what almost looks like the surface of Mars. It's this desolate, reddish.
Oh yeah, I need to definitely replay this.
Yeah, it's this very intimidating part of the demo. The music gets really scary. Chris is going through the world as Captain Spirit, and he's like, "I know you're here, Mantroid," because that's the space villain's name is Mantroid. And you can hear the villain talking in the background. He's like, "How dare you come to my home world, you peon," basically, or whatever he calls him. And eventually, pleb. And eventually, Chris doesn't actually encounter Mantroid, a creature, but at the end of the sequence, he does get to a crossroad. And the sign on the crossroad is Manchester, and then I don't know, something else that has oid at the end. And it's Mantroid.
Maybe that's where the intersection his mother was
that
killed?
is the intersection that his mother was killed at. So my overall theory about, and that was actually very close to the end of the game. So that sequence happened before the treehouse sequence did, like right before. So my theory is that the actual game may wind up going more into detail about how his mother actually did die.
I'm sure it will.
Was it really just an accident?
Well, I'm assuming you'll find out like the killer by the end.
Yeah, I assume so too. So that's where I think the game might be going. We could both be wrong.
Yeah.
We could just be a little right and a little wrong. So I'm excited to see where it goes.
I'm too.
And I'm definitively going to be fully on board.
Oh,
like
same.
the minute it launches.
I mean, it's Life is Strange.
It's Life is Strange, exactly.
You know.
I trust Don't Nod to do it well.
Yes. Did you find any of the tie-ins to season 1?
No?
They're in another box of like papers and everything. You find out his mom went to Blackwell Academy.
I knew that she was an artist. I didn't know she went to Blackwell.
On the main, in the bookshelf in their living room, he pulls down a couple books and look at them. And this one, I was like, hey! One of them is a book of photos by Mark Jefferson.
Oh my God, oh my God, really? Mark Jefferson?
I can't.
Holy crap.
But, you know, obviously he's a little kid, so maybe he doesn't know the news. Slight spoilers for episode 1. But still, it's just like, so I'm trying to figure out, like, does this occur before? Does it occur after? Does it occur during?
I don't know the answers to any of those.
I mean, obviously, it's
and also maybe just because it was in like a northern snowy place that seemed like semi-rural.
No, there were a couple references to
like,
Oregon.
Well, I was like, this looks a lot like Canada, so I was kind of imagining that they were in Canada.
It's still the Pacific Northwest, so yeah. Okay, so the last thing we need to get out, we need to wrap this one up so we can move on to our next one before we run out of time and stuff. But my only thing, my kind of like only gripe, is not about the game itself, because obviously, yes, the game like tonally, all the different things, gameplay, it's very much Life is Strange. It even had the Sufjan Stevens songs playing in the background.
Yeah, the music was very on brand for Life is Strange.
Very much. And so, but the one thing I didn't like, and this is more in the presentation of how Square announced it, they made it sound like it was a full episode.
I agree.
It's a demo.
Yeah.
You beat it in 2 hours.
Yes.
It's not a full, but they were like, it's a full adventure you'll get to play for free. That made it sound like it was a whole episode.
It did.
I was not, and then when I get here, I'm like, oh, it's a demo? Oh, it's only 2 hours? Like, still, I'm excited to play it, but I was like, you should have said it was a demo.
And really, I don't even think it took me 2 hours. I think I spent max an hour and a half.
I mean, you could probably finish the story
play it in like
very
an hour
quickly.
10, an hour,
or
an
less.
hour.
I mean, really, you don't even have to really do any of those side things. You just have to wait for the dad to go to,
exactly.
Dad to go to sleep and then just wake him up immediately and you'd be at the end. So I was kind of like, just say it's a demo.
I agree that the presentation and the way it was marketed was not the best. It may have even been a little bit of a lie.
I think so.
But like I feel like that was a choice made by the marketing team, and I feel like it was almost certainly had nothing to do with the developers,
right?
Which is who I'm trusting to give me the game that I want.
Same. I just like that was the one thing. Once I got into it, I was like, this is not what they were saying it was.
Yeah,
and so,
I
but
agree.
again, it didn't knock down the value or the experience of playing the game. I was just like, I was expecting more going in.
You said it was a demo.
Yeah.
And considering the fact that it's clearly a demo for as yet unannounced release date, Life is Strange 2, how long
sometime
are we going to be?
Though. We do know that.
They said sometime in September? Mm-hmm. Okay. But we still technically don't have a definitive release date for episode 1.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's coming soon.
Soonish?
Maybe in like July. I think they're July or maybe August.
For episode 1.
No. That's when they're going to announce when it comes out.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
This is like a news article I saw a couple days ago. Okay, but anyway, overall excited for the game.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely
going to play
absolutely.
it. I'm going to finish Before the Storm though, so I don't like have these two different things. I got completely off of Before the Storm. I started and got I think I finished the first episode and then I was like, okay, I got off on the other things. But no, so I want to finish that one first, then come to Life is Strange Season 2. It looks like it's going to be great. So, yes, I think you should play. If you're into Life is Strange, play The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit.
And even if you're not, do it anyways.
Exactly.
It's free
They're great games.
and it's a demo. You can at least get a taste of what it's going to be like.
Exactly. Now, speaking of a taste, because that's pretty much all you're getting at this, which is a much more expansive and massive game than what will be Life is Strange Season 2. The other big demo that we played this week is Octopath Traveler.
Octopath Traveler.
Mogan
Let me
has
put
been-
up all 8 fingers.
At least now it's just
Traveler.
Octopath Traveler instead of Project Octopath Traveler.
So the thing is, quick caveat, I'm actually super mad at them for not making the name any easier. Like when they announced Project Octopath, parentheses, working title,
Yeah.
my assumption was that eventually it would be a little bit less terrible of a title.
It's still
I
a
don't
pretty
think-
terrible title.
I don't think Octopath Traveler is a good title at all.
I mean, it just means there are 8 people that you can choose to play. They all come
couldn't-
from different paths.
Yeah.
They follow the same path, and they're traveling along that path.
I mean,
it's a very like on the nose name, but also
it's just really
It's kinda
stupid.
dumb.
I think I hate the title, but that being said, I personally loved what I got my hands on.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you've been excited for this anyway.
Oh yeah, I've been excited for this one either way. So just to give people a quick bit of background on Octopath Traveler, it is from the same people who made the Bravely games. So Bravely Default and Bravely Second, both previous Nintendo DS titles. This is the same people that did those kind of games. So you can expect a really expansive JRPG with a fascinating turn-based combat system. Fans of the Bravely series will feel right at home with Octopath Traveler's
But
combat.
you are a fan of Bravely
Yeah,
series.
oh, I love the Bravely series, but there absolutely are some notable differences, so you won't feel like it's the same game recycled. It definitely has a lot of different components to, especially the combat system that I'm really liking so far, along with in-game play and how your various party members can affect the game in itself. So I know what my thoughts are.
Mm-hmm. So you
What are
played
your
though all
thoughts?
3 hours.
I
Of the,
played
you can
all
only
3
play
hours,
3 hours of
yes.
this. It's like the game's timer. Once it hits 3 hours, you're done. But you can do as much as you want in that
Correct.
first 3 hours.
And it is also worth mentioning that even though this is technically a demo and you have a 3-hour max, the game gives you the ability to choose any of the 8 title characters
Yeah.
to start with, which as far as a demo goes, I was stunned
Well,
that
did you-
was the way they were choosing to present it. I thought for sure that they would be like, oh, well, it's the demo. You can pick between one of these 2 characters.
well,
for
because your
example.
gameplay carries over to the full game.
Exactly.
So that would make sense then.
Well, it can. You don't actually have to. You can carry your data over. So
Yeah.
if you wanted to restart from scratch, you could. But if you play all 3 hours of the demo and you decide, you know what, I like what I've done so far, I want to keep this data. When Octopath Traveler comes out, I want to transfer it over. You can essentially pick up right where you left off, which I like having that option. I think
Yeah.
that makes the demo feel
It gives
like
more
it's
incentive.
worth something.
And
exactly.
it's like I mean, this is basically could be our first impression of the game. I mean, you spent 3 hours in it. Like, that's a pretty good first impression.
I have a lot of impressions already, and they're pretty much all good. I'm not actually sure I have a lot to knock against the game.
Yeah.
So I want to hear your thoughts first.
So,
So first of all, I should start with a simple question. Let's both compare. Who did you start with?
I'm trying to look up her name. Hanit, the hunter.
You and Bro Mogan both picked her, and I was like, oh, you mean the Aloy clone?
Oh, yeah.
She totally is. Dude, she totally is.
I'm normally not like a mage-ish character, and so it was either her or the knight character. The knight or the thief is kind of who I was messing with. But I was like, you know what? I want to be the hunter.
I think the knight's name may have been Ulrich.
That sounds about right.
I might be wrong about that, but I think it was Ulrich is the knight, and he's kind of like the grizzled older gentleman.
Yeah.
He's got a bit of a dark past behind him. He's trying to figure out his place in this new world. Now that I think a war has ended, is
Yes.
essentially his scenario. So both you and Bro Mogan then picked the Huntress.
Yes.
Which when I saw her character art, I was like, looks an awful lot like Aloy.
That actually didn't even cross my mind, but it's probably just like subliminally implanted in my mind now that I love anyone who looks like Aloy. So there we go.
So each of these title characters does also have a primary, what I would know from the Bravely series as job class.
Yes.
So your Aloy, what is her actual name?
Hanit?
Hanit.
I think I'm saying that
We'll
right.
pretend it's right.
It's like H''AANIT, something like that.
I will call her Honey. So
Real names, please.
Hashtag not sexist. So the Huntress Honey is just one of the job classes that you can get. Essentially, the other is a thief. One of them is, of course, a knight. One is a cleric, i.e. your healer.
Mm-hmm.
There's one that is a scholar, who is essentially your mage and your magic user.
Yep.
I feel like there's the dancer.
Yes.
I forget what her name is, but she is very prominently featured on the box art. So there's the dancer, who is kind of like your summoner summoner / enchantress. And then there's the character I picked as my starter, Tressa the Merchant. I love her. She is my daughter. She's not a waifu because she's too young, but I adore her to pieces. And I picked Merchant because I was like, what a useless sounding
That
class.
is an odd class.
I was like, that sounds really stupid. There actually was a merchant job class in Bravely Second, but I did not pick that asterisk to equip to my team because I was like, that sounds really stupid and I don't want that. So since I was given a second chance with Octopath Traveler, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to give the merchant a try.
Tressa is the merchant's name.
Yes, that's what I
So
said.
it's Ophelia the cleric, Therion the thief, Primrose the dancer, Tressa the merchant.
Primrose the dancer. That's right.
Uldric is
I was so close.
the other one. Cyrus is the professor.
Oh, Cyrus blows.
Yeah, Hanit. H-A-N-N-I-T.
Yeah, I would say Hanit. That sounds about right. You know what? Let's just
Anyway.
call her Hanit.
I think that's everybody. Alphin. Alphin is another person, unless I already said that earlier.
Oh, he's the yes, thank you for reminding me. Alphin is the apothecary.
Yes.
He's an apothecary.
Yes.
There we go. So I gather that he's kind of like another type of support class.
Yeah.
So there's two supports. There's what are essentially going to be a couple of offense classes like the knight and the thief and the huntress.
Yep.
And then there are your kind of odds and ends characters like the merchant, Tressa, and the scholar, Cyrus.
Yes.
So in my path, I started as Tressa, and I only got to one other character. I got
Same.
to Cyrus.
I got to Therion the thief.
So did Bro Mogan. You and Bro Mogan went the same direction.
Well, I think the game pushes you in that direction
does
a
it
little bit
really?
early. Well, I guess there's one place in like this woodlands area you can choose to either go to one area like down a path or another one, and I think we must have obviously just chosen to go down the same path. But Bro Mogan, great minds think alike. I like it, buddy. But anyway, so I ran across him first, and I'm still like I'm an hour and 40 minutes in. So
you might, if you really blazed through it, you might have time to get to another character.
yeah, I mean, I'm going out of town this weekend. I'm going to take my Switch with me. Hopefully, I'll get a
Yeah.
chance to play a little bit more. But anyway, so my thoughts. I am not a JRPG guy. Like
You never have
I
been.
never have been.
You don't have a backlog of JRPGs
No.
that you'll die on your sword
I've
for.
jumped
like
in
I
a
do.
couple. I've tried a couple. Like I remember Freedom Wars. I tried playing on the Vita, which I liked parts of it, but I still found it very confusing in what I'm supposed to be doing.
Ironically, considering the fact that you're one of the only people I know that actively owns a Vita, the Vita is well known for being a JRPG powerhouse.
And it really is. I honestly
It's-
bought it because it was
yeah.
Sony's handheld.
It's too bad that you're not into that because
know.
it has a ton of titles that are
and they're
well
still making
beloved.
JRPGs.
They're still
for
making
the
them,
Vita.
exactly.
Yeah. So, that's it. That it is what it is. And so I just normally, I don't know. And I don't really necessarily know what it is about it because it's not necessarily even that it's turn-based. I like turn-based strategy games. I mean, Civilization, come on. That's what I'm all about. And I like RTS strategy games and stuff like that. But just for some reason, the JRPG ones, I think it's... I don't know. I really can't put my finger on what about it that I'm just like, I don't like it. Sometimes I think, I'm also not a big anime fan. So I think that's also too, the art style of them tend to be very anime and very storytelling is very anime-esque. And so I think maybe that's just why. Just not my thing. But I started playing this one last night. And so I was playing through it. Like I said, I played like the first hour or so last night. And I got into it and like I was doing my intro stuff with Hanit and there's a lot of like dialogue to go through at the very beginning. I do appreciate though that they both, for the main things like that, they do have voice acting and you can read. So you can skip through.
Exactly.
Especially with the art style that the game is. It's not like they have these impressive cinematics that you're just like, oh, I'm fine sitting here and watching this. It's nice they give you the option to like read and skip through and all this other stuff. And so I was kind of like, okay. And like the old English that they had going on, they were doing like, it might be only for this character, but you're
That
like,
may have been unique to the Huntress.
but you're talking to like her master, and it's just this. Wouldn't thou thus not moveth forward? And
That's
like,
unique to the
okay,
Huntress.
so I was like, oh, this is rough getting through. Like I'm normally okay with Old English, but this is kind of killing me here.
So Tressa's mom and dad in the merchant town of, I think it's called like Rippletide, I believe is correct. Her mom sounds like a Minnesota hockey mom. And I was like, I freaking love
That's
it.
awesome.
Like her mom and dad sound really normal. They have what we might even call kind of American style accents.
Yeah.
So mine was really easy. You picked the bad character.
I guess, but so I was getting into it. I was like, okay, this isn't boding well for me. I was like, typical JRPG. but anyway, so
Not all of them
I
are
got
like
through
that,
it.
people.
I got through all that stuff, started going around, started exploring, started getting into a couple combat with some woodland creatures that were around and all this other stuff. And, I got to say, I'm loving it.
Are you really?
I'm digging it.
I thought you were going to not like it at all.
See?
Do you like it? You tricked me.
I know.
You totally tricked
trickster.
me. You're a trickster. You should have been the thief.
I'm digging it. I legitimately am digging it.
So quick caveat, Bro Mogan did make it to the thief as well, and he texted, like, we were both playing the demo kind of at the same time, and we were texting each other all of our different choices, and he was like, oh, I picked so-and-so. Oh, I've made it to the thief. And he was like, God, he's such a tryhard.
He really is.
Like Genji and Hanzo smashed together tryhard.
I'm still playing through his like introductory quest because that's the thing. You have each character, when you meet a new character, they have like a quest you have to do as that character, and then once you complete that, you're able to add them to your party.
They have what is essentially each character has a chapter 1.
Yes.
So even if you start as Tressa, for example, if I run into Hanit the Huntress, then I am transported into her body essentially, and I have to play through her chapter 1, and then she can join my party.
Yes. But no, like the combat, I'm digging the turn-based combat.
It's really good.
I got into, it's really fun. It's fun, like figuring out, like, cause, with Hanit, one thing she can do is if you're fighting a beast, you can try to capture the beast, and then you can use it later to like summon the beast in combat for you. She has a leopard, snow leopard-esque type creature that's like her companion that you can summon into battle all the time, unlimited. Like,
Can you name the creature?
It's like Lindy, Linde.
Lind
is kind of how I assume.
Yes.
And so, but you can call Linda in and she'll attack. That could be your just main attack, is you just have Lind, and she just does like a sweeping attack. It'll hurt all enemies.
So she's kind of like a huntress / beastmaster.
Yes.
AKA
and so,
Pokemon trainer.
I'm really enjoying too that like you run into a new type of enemy, and you don't know what it's weak against. So you have to try all the different combinations. Like normally your first weapon for Hanit is a bow, but you also have an axe that you can use. And so you have to like try these different things to see which the beast is going to be susceptible to for your attack. And it's just great. I'm having a great time with it. And then I got to like the first boss, which was, for one who's used to more fighting bosses in the typical hack and slash game or first person shooter, taking it in this more turn-based approach, sometimes it was like very nail biting for me.
Like sometimes you're sitting there like on your choice screen, your selection screen, you're like, mother of God,
I love
what
that
do I
if you could break their defense, that would basically give you a free attack, which you could use to either like heal, defend, do these different things. And so I kept having to be like, okay, well, if I do this attack, and you can like boost your attack too to like have more hits. And I was just like, for on specific times, depending on how many turns you don't use it, you can build up to 4.
I saw 5 on my screen,
okay,
but I
maybe
think
I
you
just
can
haven't
only
hit that
use a maximum of 4. And then if you had 5 in your bank, you
because you have to have the
left.
1.
Correct.
So you can use you power it up to 4. You can unlock different attacks and abilities as you go on, as you level up. And like, I just remembered, like, it got close. I think I got down to fighting the boss. I got down to 2 HP. And like, I was
You're so bad at JRPGs.
Oh, I was having to heal up all the time.
Oh my God, were you really?
What are they called? Grapes. Like life grapes.
Yes.
Whatever they're called. I was using them all.
That's really funny.
And then but I was using my like special attacks that I was then having to use the potions to like, I was having to plan when I would use the potion to refill my special attack meter, all this stuff. I'm sold on it.
So I think that I may be a little bit more in the rhythm of the combat. So essentially,
which would make sense. This is legitimately like probably the most time I've spent in JRPG.
And a lot of what you have described may sound really familiar to fans specifically of the Bravely series. So this is where things are both very similar and diverge quite a bit from the combat system that we know from Bravely. So from Bravely Default, you essentially start every battle where each of your party members is starting at 0. And if you choose to, example, Brave 4 times, between anywhere from 1 to 4 times, you essentially put your 0 counter to -3. That means that for the next 3 turns, that character can't do anything. However, if from 0 or if from -1 only from 0. If from 0 you had chosen instead to default and basically just take a defensive stance,
which I did a couple times,
you would gain 1. So every time you default, you gain a battle point, a BP, which they reused in this game. So in Bravely, you would gain battle points up to a maximum of 4 again, which actually it winds up being 3, but it's 3, 2, 1, 0.
Right.
0, 1, 2, 3.
So that's what's cool about when you could, if you were able to break the defense of the character, that gives you that extra turns, that builds that extra point, so you can start like hitting some pretty serious combos.
So this is where things differ, is that 1, 2, 3 combo kind of thing feels very familiar to Bravely, but in Octopath Traveler, you're not actually, it's not the same thing where you start at 0 and you can go into the red. You start at 0 and you can really only build on that.
Yeah, you go back to 0.
Exactly.
You can't go
lower.
So
I like that difference, but you compile that with the fact that every time you essentially do a standard attack, more or less, or default, or go into defensive stance, you do gain those. They call them the same thing. They call them battle points, or at least BP. I'm not actually sure what
they call it BP.
Yeah. So you can still gain BP, and if you choose to break an enemy's defense and then use 3 of your battle attacks, essentially, you can just decimate the enemy
serious
team.
Damage.
But if you time it wrong, and this was something that was really unique to Octopath that I really liked, is up in the top, you may have noticed, it would give you what was essentially a meter, and it would show you where your character stood in the timing.
Yeah, and like who was going to attack first, who was going to attack next.
Exactly. So if you were fighting 3 ants, for example, it might show 1 ant as being the next in line to take a turn, and then you, and then 2 more ants.
Yep.
So you might say, you know what, I know that ant is about to attack me, I'm going to choose to go on ahead and defend, which if you defend, it puts you faster in the next round of turns.
Oh, I didn't pick that up.
Yeah, so if you choose to go into defensive stance instead of battle, it speeds you up. It puts you, it's basically a skip. You get to skip ahead of the next person behind you. So that's where I was like,
okay, good to know.
I see the strategy here. So it is both a timing and a resource management kind of tool in that you have your HP, magic users have their SP, of course, and you have your battle points as well. So there's a lot to manage. And if you have 2 to 3 party members in your party at the time, you might just be like going off. So I was really into the combat, and it's presented in such a fun way. Like when you break an enemy's defense, when you hit their weak points and it goes break.
Oh, it's so fun.
The screen gets really dramatic. The colors are super vibrant. The music
has been great.
The music is so
I'm loving the
good.
music.
So we featured the OSTs of Bravely Default, and I think Bravely Second, at least 1 each on this show. I can't wait to start bombarding the show with Octopath Traveler tracks. I'm really excited about it. So, like, I know that you're having a good time. I'm having a good time times 10. I'm, like, so excited. And the game comes out, of course, on July 3rd. Excuse me, July 13th. My bad. July 13th. And I could not be more excited to buy this title and instantly start sinking hours upon hours, happily spent balancing my parties and setting myself up for crushing victories. I'm really excited.
And honestly, I've been really looking forward to getting back into like a serious RPG. You know, like I'm still playing through Legend of Zelda. I'm still playing Breath of the Wild. I mean, I'm still playing through Witcher. I'm still playing through a couple other ones. But like those are more, they're not like the deep tactical RPGs, I feel like. And that's what I've kind of been like itching for. And playing it, I was like, oh, this is scratching that itch.
The thing about Bravely, and I know already about Octopath, is the amount of time that you will spend looking at your own skill tree, looking at your item loadout, looking at your armor, looking at your magic, assessing who's in your party and where you're going next. I've spent hours upon hours upon hours just being like, okay,
rolling those stats, seeing what's up.
Yeah, what stats do I want to build? What job classes am I going to put in my party? And this kind of leads to another really interesting facet of Octopath that I really like. So essentially, each of your job classes has their in-battle techniques, but they also have out-of-battle techniques, which are really interesting. So, for example, Tressa's specialty as the merchant is she can haggle. So, for example, in most RPGs, you can only buy items from the stores. So you get to a town, you run into stores, you can buy your items from there. Tressa's ability is she can purchase items from almost anyone.
Oh, wow.
Anyone that you see that has like a ... text
Speech
box
bubble.
above them, she can go up to them and be like, hey, partner, you want to do business with me? And they're like, oh, God, small lady, we'll do business with you. Like, she's really a go-getter. I like her a lot.
Entrepreneurial spirit.
And she can sometimes get better deals on certain items. She can also, for example, let's say that you're a mercenary and I'm Tressa. I'm like 14 probably. And I go up to you and I'm like, hey there, sir, got anything I can buy? And you're like, shit, yeah, little lady, I've got guns out the wazoo.
Yeah.
That might trigger a basically a separate bonus, which is if you're the mercenary and I buy something from you, I'll get a notification at the top that says new weapons now available in the shop.
Oh.
So she can unlock through her haggle ability items that you may otherwise not be able to get. Nice. Some of what I unlocked was like really pricey stuff that I couldn't actually buy, but I was like, oh my God, that looks like such good armor. I want to kill myself that I can't buy it. And I knew that I didn't have time to grind and be able to afford it. And like I was
because you got that 3 hours.
Because I only had 3 hours. But the other character of Cyrus, who is like the scholar, his special might be, well, I can talk to you and I can get you to divulge information to me that you might otherwise not give.
Yeah.
And this essentially resulted in, if I talk to you and you're just like a lowly NPC, I'm unlocking bonus items just out and about in the world. So like I might suddenly see that there's a shiny, a sparkly in a random bush on the side of the road. If I click on that, it'll be like, oh hey, you found a fruit, whatever, your healing item.
Healing grape, essence of grape.
Which can be a really helpful thing if you're low on funds.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a lot of money, you might want to go to the tavern, retool your party, put the merchant and the scholar into your party, and thereby build up some items, get some deals on stuff. So I can absolutely see how the tactical aspects of this are going to be really engrossing.
Yeah.
I can't express enough.
Well, and that's kind of an exciting thing for me too, because like I'm used to playing the more Dragon Age, which has the same thing. Like you can change up your party on the fly, but normally in that kind of game, I set my party, I have my favorite characters, and I just go. There's not really a whole lot of like changing out and doing these different things. So that is a very interesting aspect to me as well. So I mean, for me, I am excited about it. I feel like I have some other games that I need to finish first before I jump into like a big game. Like
what?
Like Legend of Zelda.
Well, if you try to finish Legend of Zelda, you're going to be there forever.
I know. But so I don't know if I'm going to get it release day. But it's definitely going to be like a must play for me.
I've got mine on pre-order.
I want to play it. So I do want to play it really bad.
I'm getting it launch day because on the 13th, I'm actually going out of town for a wedding.
Oh, well, there you go.
On that flight, I'm going to be like, nobody talk to me. I'm busy.
You gotta have that plan and entertainment.
I've got to start building my job points now.
I know. Yeah, that was the other thing. I was like trying to I upgrade enough, and it's like, you got enough job points to learn a new skill. I was like, sweet. Went and bought a new skill, and then I was like, oh, I leveled up again. I can go do it. Oh, you have to get to 100 job points before you can do a new skill. And I was like, damn it. I'm only at like 88. I'm getting
and
there.
It has scaling job points. So essentially the first skill that you buy, it'll give you like an option out of 7. So it's like, hey, you can pick any one of these 7 skills. The cost for any of them is only 10 job points. The next skill that you buy, you're going to have to pay 30 job points. The next skill that you buy, again, no matter what it is, 50 job points. So like the more skills you buy, it doesn't really matter what they are, they're going to cost you more.
Interesting.
Which again adds that other layer of tactical aspects. You have to really plan it out. Look at the skills and go, okay, I got to write this down. What am I going to build this character to be?
Yeah.
How do I want this person to function in the context of my party? Well, do I want them to be primarily healer or do I want them to be able to do damage? So I'm just super enchanted already.
And the one last thing for me that I'll touch on that I was like, oh, this is different that I'm not used to, especially when I was fighting the boss. I really noticed this. I was like, there's no health bar. I don't know how much this boss has left.
Oh yeah, the bosses don't.
So that was an interesting thing. Normally you can if I do this heavy attack, but you know, because you have like these limited resources, especially the strategy points or whatever it is for like your special points. It's like I can't just do heavy attack after heavy attack after heavy attack, or else I'm going to use all my potion refilling my stamina points or whatever they're called. I can't remember SP. And so I was like, I'm going to run all that down. So I have to mix and match with these light attacks to heavy attacks. And I don't know what's having the best effect. Obviously you see the damage done, but you don't see like the health bar slowly getting ticked down.
So that
and
might
that was
just
a
be
new thing
something
to like,
that you're not familiar with, because in the majority of JRPGs, you can never see the health bar.
And it's definitely a thing that I'm used to playing.
Exactly. But so this was actually
Dragon Ages
a
and stuff like
skill that was a separate thing in Bravely, for example. There was a skill class called the Freelancer. And the Freelancer was kind of like a low-tier jack of all trades, but like low level. But one of its low-level support abilities was a thing called Examine. So if I chose to use the Freelancer skill Examine, it would show me what you were weak to, what your HP was. And if I use that again later in battle, it would be like, oh, you whittled them down to this much. So although you never had the ability, in Bravely at least, to actually see a health bar, you could use other skills that would let you know, hey, if you use wind against this guy, that's his weak point.
I wonder then if that will transfer over in this one. Like I could see the apothecary having that.
Yeah, I really think that they will probably build some sort of skill like that into one of the job classes. I just don't know which one yet. I feel like it'd be a pretty good merchant job class.
Yeah, it could be good for
Oh,
that
by
too.
the way, even though you can't, it's not stated that this is her technical skill, but Tressa, the merchant, can collect money from enemies. Basically where she just straight up steal. Yes. No, she really is. So if you're on the map and you're just walking from one place to another, one of her passive skills is occasionally you'll get a notice on the top that says, Tressa just found 500 gold from an unfortunate soul.
Oh my.
She's literally looting corpses out there. And I was like, good job, Tressa. Get us that money. So she's basically just got like a steady stream of income. And I was like, you're a good kid, Tressa. I like you.
Then you find out she's murdering those people to steal their money.
Probably is. She's actually kind of a heavy hitter in battle too. She's great. Play Tressa, everybody.
There we go. So that is our basic first impression, I guess, of Octopath Traveler. And like I said, so obviously we're both having a fun time with it. We recommend both the games that we talked about today. Obviously looking forward to the full releases, so we'll be able to get more in depth and find out more about those and get to really root through those games and find out all the fun stuff to be had in those. But if you have played the Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit or the Octopath Traveler demos, let us know. Let us know what your thoughts are. We would love to hear it. Now, before we go, we do have to do our soundtrack spotlight. And I decided this on the fly. I'm changing something up. We're going to do Octopath Traveler.
Good. I wanted to do Octopath. I was like, the music is so good. So he better do Octopath.
We're just going to do the main theme.
Nice.
Yasunori Nishiki is the composer of it. And so enjoy that after the close of this episode. But before we go, do have a quick reminder to enter our PS4 Glacier White used giveaway that we're having. The used is just so you don't get mad later when it's
also, it's free, so you have no right to complain.
It's a free PS4.
It's a free PS4.
But don't forget to go enter our giveaway, and good luck to all who enter. We hope it will be a fun prize for whoever does win. But with that concludes this episode of Team Chat Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Jerrett Wilson, joined by Rachel Mogan.
Adios.
We'll see you all next time. Stick around for the song.